Netflix just dropped its newest film, Project Power, and it stars everyone's favorite comedian turned singer turned actor, Jamie Foxx. And he's joined by Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Dominique Fishback. And you know what I'm tired of? I have friends that when I tell them I'm going to see a movie with Jamie Foxx in it, they actually scoff as if it's going to be subpar. I think sometimes we forget that this man is an Oscar award-winning actor. And if you don't think that he can act, the Academy begs to differ. Not to mention that Jamie has a wide range. He started off in comedy, won an Oscar in drama, and now is nailing action in Netflix's Project Power. Netflix has carved out a unique place in the movie industry, so much so that we all know what to expect from a Netflix movie. It's going to have great story, pretty good actors, but the budget's going to keep it from reaching its fullest potential. It's usually better than a made-for-TV movie, but it's not quite ready for the silver screen. The movie industry is saturated with the superhero genre, but I still get excited to see what new creators and new writers are going to do with the subject. In fact, we all flock to all things supernatural. If there's a movie, a show, a comic book adaptation, it excites us all. So the plot is that there is a new drug working its way around the streets of New Orleans, and it gives its consumers 5 minutes of unlimited power. The problem is they don't know which power they will receive or even if they'll survive taking the pill. But that does not put a limit on the demand for the drug. A few things that I liked about the plot, the mystique around what power would you receive, and even more so, what are you gonna do in the urgency of 5 minutes? Are you gonna try to play the hero, play the villain, rob a bank? Considering how expensive the drug was, how much time did you have to familiarize yourself with your power before you tried to use it? Some things that I didn't like were that some people were taking the pills back to back in quick succession. And when you have it affecting one group of people by literally causing their chest to explode, it didn't seem right that you could just take the pill back to back with no repercussions. I also felt that they put a lot of emphasis on twists to activate. But what would happen if you just took the pill without twisting it? All that raw power should still do something to your body, in my opinion. As well, for a superhero flick, I think we all want more action scenes than were provided. There were basically 2 really good action scenes and not a lot in between. Another plot hole for me was this daughter that Jamie was fiercely pursuing. We didn't see anything about her until the last 10 minutes, maybe. I feel like we should have saw more of what was happening to her over the years. How was she being experimented on? Was she being tortured? Were they gentle with her? Did she have a friend within the lab? And how were they extracting the power from her body? But you guys want to get into the character breakdown. So let's start with Jamie's character, Major. He was a no-nonsense kind of guy. He was willing to kill to get the answers that he needed. He had no problem hurting you, but he made you take him seriously at all points in the film. He had this line that he would go back to that he would say, "Am I lying?" And he would preface it with, listen to my voice. Am I lying to you? Look at me in my eyes. Am I lying to you? And it really drove home the fact that he was serious about getting back to his daughter. I also love the relationship that was formed between Jamie's character and Robin. He really began to be a father to her, kind of coaching her through some of the obstacles that she would later face in life, telling her things like, you're young, you're black, and you're a woman. The system is set up for you to fail. You're gonna have to play the system harder than it's playing you. All right, now let's get into Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, Frank. Frank and Robin had a really funny relationship right from the beginning. He was a cop, but she was his dealer. And this is the first time I've seen Joseph Gordon-Levitt in any sort of comedic role. There's a scene in particular between Frank and Robin's mom that actually had me laughing out loud. And in many ways, I feel like Levitt is becoming a new generation's Stanley Tucci. What do I mean by that? I don't mean that they act the same, but Stanley Tucci is probably the world's best supporting actor. I don't think I've ever seen Stanley Tucci in a leading role, but every time he's in a movie as a supporting actor, I can't help but smile because he does his part so well. And so I found myself wanting more of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, but also pretty satisfied that he was just enough in the role that he played. Because I realized the movies that I've liked him in most are movies like Inception, or The Dark Knight Rises, where he was a supporting actor. Movies like Snowden, which wasn't bad, but it wasn't memorable, and other movies like Looper, where he was the leading character, I really didn't like them. Finally, Dominique Fishback, who plays the role of Robin. I was very excited when I saw that Netflix decided to cast a woman of color. And while it was clear that this was one of her first times acting and that she would need to get some more experience, I found her character quite relatable and pretty funny. Now, her rapping. When I saw her rapping in the trailer, I was worried it was gonna be extra corny. But when she actually did it in the film, I believed it. I also love that she has Zion Williamson, one of the greatest rookies in the NBA right now, on the background of her phone. It kept the film fresh and relevant because it felt like you were really in touch with what was happening in the world. Now, the one moment in the film that made me actually cringe was the scene in the club where the drug dealing boss takes a pill and turns into what I can only describe as a troll from the Bridge of Terabithia. He was big and ugly and really cartoony. It didn't feel like it matched the rest of the film where all these powers felt really realistic. All of a sudden we had this big cartoon giant in the middle of the film. I think one of the best moments as a movie watcher is when you're so engaged that you forget you're watching a movie. And one of the worst moments is when something happens in the movie that takes you out of it. The henchmen in the film, I actually liked two in particular. One guy that Frank's character fought who had stretchy or rubbery limbs. It seemed like he turned his bones into rubber. That was actually a unique fight scene that I've never seen on screen. Even with Mr. Fantastic from the old Fantastic Four movies, it was always about him stretching across the scene instead of a close combat fight. And in this context, we got to see a guy with stretchy limbs fight in close combat, and it was really cool. There was another henchman who could make his bones come out of his body, like Spike from X-Men if you're a comic book fan. That was also really cool to see on screen. So how does Project Power score on the rewatch scale? I'm gonna have to give Project Power a 6 out of 10, and that means it's worth a watch. It's not so bad that you shouldn't watch it, and it's not a movie that I'll rewatch anytime soon. But if you watch it once, you won't feel like you wasted your time. What saves this movie is the great actors. What makes it fall flat is the writing. So guys, that's my review of Project Power. Stay tuned for some upcoming videos, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And comment below if there's a movie that you want me to review.